hits, Marte with a home run and 2 hits. You could see when we do link up what we did in the 8th inning. We create innings and build innings, and we're able to go out there and put pressure on the pitcher. We just didn't do that enough throughout the course of the series and win some games.
Quite frankly, the theme of this series, Connor, is the fact that they were able to get runners on base, but they weren't able to get any of those runners home at opportune times. There was a little bit of it in this game in particular, like that 8th inning seemed to be the start of a rally, but then the rally kind of died with runners in scoring position because that's just been the theme of this series. Complete opposite of what they were able to do against the Cardinals offensively.
And I hope the stat isn't wrong, but I believe it was 19 base runners that they left or 19 base runners that they left in scoring position going into today's game. And like you said, another collapse going into that 8th inning. And at what point do you start to question, is it coaching? Is it guys not bought in? Is it just kind of a in confusion of what's going on? I don't know. I mean, it looked to me clear as day that you just let that guy run, that you keep waving that arm. But to call it off, to me, and we saw it last night again with Josh Naylor, it just felt off. And, Torey Lovello yesterday talked about, hey, maybe it wasn't the right call at the time. I'm going to have to look at the film. Well, it's the next day. Did you look at the film? Did you
And we immediately have another question about Sean Larkin at third base sending or not.
Exactly. And it's like, if we're looking at the film, are we seeing the same things that you're seeing? And are we making adjustments? That's where I start to question it. And I got to be honest, we go back to just kind of the roller coaster of emotions it's been. It has to be a gut punch for all the guys in the locker room if you think about it. I mean, you just, like you said, crawl your way back into this thing, have a feeling, hey, maybe we're going to get this together. We're going to come out the break. And the Astros just took your heart. They just ripped it right out of you. And now you look at it, one of the best games you got all season yesterday from Eduardo Rodriguez kind of gets put to shame.
That's the other part of it that really bothers me is the fact that they got a quality outing from Fott, not specifically quality. He had a high pitch count when they were
he
pulling
gave
him
up a couple runs.
Yeah, in the 6th inning when they pulled him, it was a little shaky for the most part. Eduardo Rodriguez, to your point, that was the one guy that they needed to get back to right, and he was awesome yesterday.
Looks great.
And they couldn't back him up because some dude named Bryce Matthews decided to have his career series against the Diamondbacks because that's just been this team this season. It's always been somebody you don't expect being the person that throws the dagger into the heart of this team. Like, do you remember when the Brooklyn Nets played the Suns very early in the season and they were down like half of their roster and Tyrese Martin had 36 points off of the bench because he was just wickedly hot from the field and the Nets beat the Suns and we're all just standing there like, why is this happening? That was Bryce Matthews this whole series against the Diamondbacks with his 3 home runs, 4 total hits on the season, 3 of them coming in the form of home runs against this team. It's just nauseating at this point.
It is. It's frustrating. And that's why I question, how the locker room feels. Because I think when you went into this week, there probably was a little bit of an argument you can make about, hey, do you hold on to a guy like Eugenio Suarez, somebody who was really going to be probably the hottest name come the trade deadline? Do you hold on to somebody like Zach Gallen, a pitcher who has been a little inconsistent but has some really good games? Do you hold on to a couple of these guys and think maybe we make a second half push? But I feel like after that, I mean, we saw it today. Suarez took a second just before the game ended to sit there, look at Chase Field, and take it all in.
This is their last home game until next month. After the deadline, they will be back.
Yeah.
Who else will be back? I think it's the lingering question.
And that's the questions. Yeah, exactly.
So let's at least think about this because we're going to get deeper into what they could get for the guys that they have available. But at this point, I think you and I would agree that they're firmly entrenching themselves in the seller's market based on the way this series went. Whatever hope that they had out of the Cardinals series, whatever optimism that we had watching them outscore the Redbirds 22-7 and sweeping them, it's all gone. And for me, I was done last night. When they lost last night, again, and the way that 9th inning played out where not only did they get seemingly screwed on a call at home plate where Jose Altuve appeared to be tagged out and was called safe, but then to load the bases and to just absolutely convulse at the plate between Blaze Alexander striking out and Jose Herrera grounding into a game-ending double play, with that also being the prime frustration of Sean Larkin waving home but then deciding, etc.
It builds up. It builds up. And
it's built up.
Exactly.
It's not even building. It's done. We're built. Done. For sale.
And
The house is
exactly,
ready.
there's your argument right there, and that's got to be the argument that everybody, that coach is going in, that Lavolo is talking to Fitzpatrick about. I mean, this has got to be one of those things where you'd look at it, and hey, what's 2026 looking like?
Yeah, that's something else that we're going to talk about later, is just how much of this team can you strip down to the studs, because yes, they have pieces to sell, but that doesn't mean that they should just completely start over. There's still a foundation here that should give them hope for the long run. Want to tell you what else we've got going on tonight. We got Tyler Drake coming up at 6:30. We got Cardinals training camp just got underway today, so we want to get Tyler's thoughts on the early takeaways and early notes and news. And then we got Kevin Zimmerman coming up at 6:45. He's going to talk all things Suns offseason. Suns made a couple of moves today. We'll talk with Kevin about those. But coming up next, we're going to talk about the trade deadline, and in particular, what can the Diamondbacks get back for what they have to offer? That's next here on Arizona Sports at Night.
Cardinals Training Camp 2025. The Red Reckoning. The Red Reckoning. 90 players enter State Farm Stadium at the beginning of camp. Only 53 can earn a spot on the final roster.
Who are the bad men for the Arizona Cardinals, Space Arnians? Who are they going to be?
Training camp coverage presented by Bud Light. The Red Reckoning. On your exclusive home for Arizona Cardinals football. Arizona Sports 98.7. The app, YouTube channel, ArizonaSports.com.
Protect your home with residential metal roofing from Mueller Inc. Strong, stylish, and designed to last, their metal roofs handle wind, hail, and heat with minimal maintenance. With a range of colors and styles, you'll get lasting beauty and proven durability, all backed by paint warranties up to 45 years. Visit one of their sales representatives today at their West Phoenix location in Buckeye, Arizona, or check out MuellerInc.com to learn more.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hey everybody, Dan Bickley here with Dr. Osafi, founder of New Life Dental Implant Center. And doctor, you're doing more than giving people new smiles. You are transforming lives.
It's really about giving patients their dignity back, the ability to have teeth again. For those who are missing multiple teeth or have gum disease where they have loose teeth or just not comfortable wearing their dentures, having problems wearing their dentures, they can't smile, they can't really eat the foods they love. This is giving them the ability to really live their best life.
How do your clients react when they see their new smiles?
To see yourself as a new person looking into the mirror is really life-changing, and it's something that everyone deserves to experience. It really changes your perspective on who you are as an individual.
Go to NewSmileArizona.com or call 602-855-0000. New Life Dental Implant Center, where a new smile means a new life.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
All right, Takis fans. Wendy's knows you love your Takis Fuego chips. So we thought, why not make a Takis Fuego meal with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich with spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis Fuego chips and creamy corn spread. Plus, it comes with Fuego fries inspired by Takis and a bag of Takis Fuego chips. If we had any more heat, we might start an actual I told him this would happen. For an intense new take on Takis chips, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Includes 1 ounce Takis Fuego chips while supplies last. Takis and Fuego trademarks are used under license.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everybody, Dan Bickley here. Game 3 against the Astros. What will the Diamondbacks do? What will they look like tomorrow? We'll discuss our baseball team and the impending trade deadline. Fun begins at 6 a.m. on Arizona Sports.
I'm confident in this group. I love this group. I've gotten to know the guys well, and I believe in every single individual. We're losing games. Sometimes that happens during the year, and it's baseball.
That's Diamondbacks first baseman Josh Naylor after today's loss. Josh Naylor, Eugenio Suarez, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. There's others, but those are the, let's call them the core 4 of what could be the entire MLB trade deadline. Welcome back to Arizona Sports at Night. Welcome in if this is your first time. Mitch Vareldis, I'm normally here. Connor Collins, he's not normally here, but he's a good sport. He's filling in for Kellen Olson, but he's ready to talk some football, I can tell. He's raring up for training camp talk.
I'm here for anything, baby. Like I said, I get to do the sister station down the way. I get the ESPN 620. We're kind of over here just on the side, so I'm happy to be over here on the main side, on the mother stream.
He works a lot of days with Rock and Manuch 1 to 4 over on ESPN 620, so he's no stranger to the building. And for those of you that are primary listeners, he's no stranger to this show either. But Josh Naylor, Eugenio Suarez, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, kind of the core 4 of guys that the Diamondbacks. Not that they're offering them particularly. I don't think we've heard necessarily the reports that are saying like, oh, they are offering them up.
Yeah.
It's more so that's the conversation, is because those 4 guys all have expiring contracts, all are valuable to teams that are trying to compete now. And this is what happens when you have guys on expiring deals on teams that are underperforming. You end up trading them. And where I want to start with you is, of those 4, the most likely to get traded, Eugenio Suarez, is. Can we agree on that? Do we agree on that?
Yeah, I would say he probably is the most likely, because if you're looking to get what we call the King's ransom back, that's who you're sending off, right? I don't think there's anybody on your roster right now with more value than Suarez. I get the fact that there's the expiring contract coming up, but someone's going to pay that. That's not going to be an issue here come the end of the season. But if I'm one of those teams, if I'm the Yankees, if I'm the Mariners, if I'm the, one of those teams that feels like they're close making a push, then maybe I'm interested in calling to see what the NL leading home run guy is doing. I mean, this is a guy who, to me, has kind of creeped his way into MVP conversation for the NL League. I mean, or National League, excuse me. This is a guy who, since last All-Star break, has just been hitting dinger after dinger. So why wouldn't you want to capitalize on this and try to sell high?
It would help the team, not so much this year, but it's more so to help the team next year is kind of the goal.
Yeah.
And I think as tough as it would be, in my opinion, malpractice for them not to consider trading him. And I don't mean that as because I don't want him here anymore. I want Eugenio Suarez around with the Diamondbacks. He wants to be around. I just think that this is a prime opportunity for the Diamondbacks to get themselves pieces that can help them next year, because as much as I want to just say I don't think they're far away from competing again next year, it's more so that they're set up to remain competitive again next year and the year beyond that and the year beyond that because of the way that they've put together the roster. It's just that this year hasn't worked for a plethora of reasons. Injuries, performance primarily is the biggest reason. So I think it would be in their best interest to turn around some pieces that could get them quite a bit more in value than if they were to hold on to them and try to get compensation draft picks of them in the offseason next year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The thing is with Suarez is it's a guy who will give you the offensive prowess behind the plate, which is something that a lot of teams are looking for right now. Just because we talk about it all the time. It's microwave offense, somebody who can come up and score a home run at any given point and change the game. But I'm interested in guys like Zach Gallen and more so Merrill Kelly, because honestly, Merrill Kelly's played pretty good this season for us.
He has.
And I think out of the four, Merrill Kelly might be the person I'd be more inclined to try to work out a deal to keep. So, it really just comes down to, like you said, how deep are you into 2026? Do you feel like you're a team that's going to be competent? Do you think you're going to be competing with some of these other teams? Because this year was your year. You came in with a loaded up starting pitcher lineup. You had a great bullpen. It felt like you have all these guys who were swinging the bats really hot to start the year. But then things have just kind of flattened out. They plateaued. And I don't know what's going to change that unless, do you think, is it a prospect you bring in? Is there a prospect out there that comes in and gives you a chance to compete in 2026 or 27?
Here's Mike Fitzgerald. He's the assistant general manager to Mike Hazen. He was on the Wolf and Luke show earlier today, and he was asked how much are the offers that they get going to dictate what they do at this trade deadline.
I think it'll dictate a lot. Okay. We're trying to have non-emotional conversations now around what is the threshold that we should be discussing any player. And so in that, you don't want to have something surprise you at the last minute, and now you're making kind of an uninformed decision to shoot from the hip on maybe a return that we didn't spend a ton of time talking about. We're still trying to balance that. Ideally, any moves that we would make are ones that could help this 2025 team through the end. The bullpen has probably been the biggest blinking light. They've done a decent job. Last night's probably the first one in this month, at least, that you look at, and you're like, oof, man, all right, that would have been an area that if we had a bit more strength in, maybe last night's game goes a little bit differently. So, yeah, we're constantly trying to juggle that. There's no perfect formula to making sure you're making the best decisions on the 31st when the deadline hits, but you try to do as much discussion ahead of time so that you're not forced into rushing and shooting from the hip and then hoping that the guys you get in return end up being meeting the standard of what we're looking for Diamondback baseball in the big picture.
And I think that the way that Eugenio Suarez has played this year in particular, he's going to fetch the most of the four, which is, it's weird to think about because he is just behind Merrill Kelly as far as age is concerned. He's an aging third baseman, but he's having the best offensive season of the bunch. He's having one of the best offensive seasons across all of Major League Baseball. Any team would be lucky to add him from a team that is currently 3 games below 500. You can make an argument for Josh Naylor, an expiring contract first baseman who's young, and he's not flashing power numbers, but he's a very consistent hitter. He's had a close to average defensive season. There are teams that would covet that. And then, of course, starting pitching, you can never get enough pitching if you're a contender. Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, they're easily 2 of the top arms available on the market. They're also probably 2 of the cheaper arms available on the market. Not to say that they're not valuable in their own right, but when you consider like Mitch Keller, for example, on the Pittsburgh Pirates, he would probably command a little bit more than if you were to go to the Diamondbacks and ask for 2 months of Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to who's going to – so I like to always compare it to a couple years ago. I think it was 2019 in the NBA. We saw it was the Toronto Raptors. They tried to make the trade for Kawhi Leonard, and it ended up being the best-case scenario where you make a trade in the middle of the year for somebody, that said person comes in and helps turn that franchise around to win the championship. Now, that's the type of player that Suarez is. That's the type of player that someone's going to look at and say, we bring him in, that's the needle that gets us over. So he is going to, like you said, is it prospects? I would hope. But what we're hearing here is, it looks like we're a bullpen guy for 2025. To me personally, I'm not looking for 2025 anymore. If I made the decision at the trade deadline to sell, I'm not bringing in anybody who I think is going to help me in the second half of the season. And yeah, it hurts to throw the word tank out, and I'm not saying I'm tanking, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to actively try to help a sinking ship. I'm going to go out and try to prepare for 2026, 2027. Guys like Suarez are going to do that. Guys like Naylor, who's a little bit younger and has a little bit more of a future ahead of him, that he's going to do that. Again, I made the argument that I'd probably re-sign Merrill Kelly. Like you said, he's a little up there in age. You probably get a decent deal on him.
He's just so steady. You want to keep him.
Exactly. And it's somebody that, with all things considered, someone you can trust, which is kind of the biggest question mark when you look at the starting pitching lineup and if you look at the bullpen. There's just a lot of question marks on consistency and if there's anybody there you can trust.
It's going to be fascinating to see when the Diamondbacks make their first move. It's also going to be fascinating what they're able to get in return. Mike Hazen historically has not had great returns in terms of his sell-off projects. I've said ad nauseum about the Greinke and Goldschmidt returns, but even some of the smaller tradeaways of David Peralta and Eduardo Escobar, Andrew Chafin, Archie Bradley, even those returns didn't really bear fruit. So they have to nail it this time.
Because the last thing you want to do is if you look over across and like we mentioned, you see Gino raising up that NL MVP trophy and you're thinking, man, what if only we had that over here? Because I get it. Shohei, Judge, I get it. There's those guys out there. But, man, just what he's doing right now, and if he can continue this, it's hard to argue it.
All right, coming up next, we're going to switch away from the sad baseball team and get ourselves excited for the Cardinals team that is beginning training camp. But then we got hit with news, so we need to break it down with our guy Tyler Drake, our lead Cardinals writer. He's going to join us next here on Arizona Sports at Night.
Friday afternoons at 2:30 on Arizona Sports. Burns and Gambo talk Diamondbacks baseball with D-backs manager Torey Lovello. Brought to you by Estrella Jalisco. Don't miss Burns and Gambo with the skipper. 2:30 Friday afternoon. Listen on the Arizona Sports app and 98.7.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well-qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hey everybody, it's Dan Bickley, and if you are dealing with joint pain, let's get you some relief. Right now, QC Kinetics is offering free laser treatments all through the month of July when you schedule your complimentary consultation. Now, you've probably heard me talk about QC Kinetics and their innovative non-surgical treatments for joint pain, and during your first visit, they'll actually do a free laser treatment on the area that's been bothering you, and that'll help decrease the pain, calm the inflammation, and increase your range of motion. Get long-term relief for pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back without surgery. And at QC Kinetics right now, you've got nothing to lose and a free laser treatment to gain just by booking your consultation this month. So why wait? Call QC Kinetics today. Tell them I sent you. You can find them in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Peoria, and Chandler, and you can reach them by calling 602-837-PAIN. That's 602-837-PAIN for QC Kinetics.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs From voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery. So he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, it's Rick. Join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. from Arizona Cardinals training camp, as Wolf will be asking players what their weight is at and if they plan to get in any training camp fights. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports, the blood sport. Wow.
I will say Jesse makes a convincing point, easy for me to say, that Wolf is definitely going to be asking about things like, are you getting into a fight? What's your weight? You know,
Totally.
Typical Wolf stuff.
He'll be standing right next to all of them, just looking them right up and down.
Who I don't think is going to be asking, well, maybe, I don't know. You definitely asked a bunch of questions about weight, not him particularly, but Tyler Drake is here joining us on the Airlink video stream. Ty, what's going on, brother? How are we doing?
What's going on, guys? I'm glad I made it back in time to jump on this very important interview with you two guys. And hey, shout out to Rick. That was a really good Wolf impersonation.
Yeah, the blood sport, right? Right. Just get really deep in that grovel. That's what we've learned.
Right?
All right, so I want to start with the news of the day because, quite frankly, this was the team, and not to make this a whole Arizona sports, we were relying on you, Arizona Cardinals. You're our only hope. But we were kind of relying on this team to do a little bit of a pick-me-up with training camp starting. And then we learned that the first-round pick is not going to be participating for maybe all of it. What can you tell us about Walter Nolan?
Yeah, definitely the big news coming out of day one. Bilal Nichols, B.J. Ojulari, all going to start training camp on the PUP list. And yeah, that's the big one. I think heading into camp, Bilal Nichols, B.J. Ojulari, those are two guys that I kind of assumed might have been on the PUP list. Definitely not Walter Nolan. And from everything that I've seen, yeah, it could be running right up to the regular season, depending on where he is with this calf injury. And I think we can all understand how cautious you need to be with calf injuries. I mean, just look at the NBA side of things with how many torn Achilles have come after calf injuries. You look at last year with Darius Robinson going through all of that. So I would be on the side of it's going to be some time. And I don't think they're going to rush it. And they really don't have to, because this defensive line room has been revamped enough to where I think this is one of those blows they could, withstand. God forbid another injury happens. But right now, I think they're okay.
You know, when we talk about some of these injuries, similar situation we saw with the second-round pick, Will Johnson. Will Johnson kind of missed a little bit of time last year with that calf injury. Is this something that we're going to have to worry about? Are these rookies coming in with calf injuries? Are they not stretching before camp? What's going on there? Can you tell us what's happening?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think even from the NBA standpoint, it's one of those injuries that it just feels like it's cropping up left and right. And the really worst case scenario is what we saw happen to Halliburton, what we've seen happen to some other guys. So yeah, you've got to be cautious with these. And I think it's just a matter of, he's really got to see what his body can handle, what he can take on, and not overdo it, because you need him for the season. You might be able to get away with him not playing in the preseason, but once the regular season comes around, you've got to get him on the field. You've got to get him more than 6 games like Darius Robinson saw last year. Mm-hmm. It's just obviously different situations, but it's very reminiscent of Darius Robinson last year. Different situation, obviously, but I think a lot of people sitting in that media room had that first thought of, oh man, is this D-Rob all over again?
Will Johnson did end up signing his contract earlier in the week. Were we able to find out what those numbers were on there, and if he got any guaranteed years or guaranteed money? What was kind of that holdup by chance?
Yeah, I'm still got to dive and find the exact numbers there, but I do think it's just coming down to that guaranteed money. You see second rounders. I mean, it's for the most part, all those guys waited out. I think there's 2 guys left to sign, and they've got legal troubles or don't want to play for their team right now. So, outside of that, it looks like everything's fine there. I wasn't worried heading into camp. I wasn't worried this offseason. I know a couple people, Rick included, was very concerned about Will Johnson maybe holding out or doing whatever, not signing his rookie contract, but yes, got signed right when it needed to get signed. So no problems there. He was out there practicing, looked good, no limitations. So yeah, I mean, if he can really keep things together, stay healthy, stay on the field, there's no doubt that he could be in the starting lineup either week 1 or very early into the season.
Tyler Drake, our lead Cardinals writer and co-host of the Cardinals Corner podcast, joining us here on Arizona Sports at Night. All right, so I want to ask you then about the position room that Will Johnson is going to be a part of, because more so the worry for me of him not having signed up until a couple of days ago was that I kind of expect him to be cornerback 1 for this group, especially with no Sean Murphy Bunting this year. How do you see that group playing out, or more so, how pivotal are these next few weeks in determining who's going to get the starting outside spots?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, there's 3 names that come to mind right away. It's Will Johnson, Max Melton, Starling Thomas V, because those guys, Starling Thomas obviously has the starting reps already. Will Johnson, if he can be the ball hawk that a lot of people think he can be, that's going to be huge for what they want to do in the takeaways battle and improving that. So he's definitely going to be in the mix. And then Max Melton coming off that rookie year, getting a lot of reps. He's very much in the situation too. So there's plenty of options. Sean Murphy Bunting, it's definitely a tough loss having that veteran not in the room, but also looking at it, I mean, I wasn't looking into the season as him being a full-time starter. I think it was just eventually it was going to be the heir apparent coming in, taking over and going from there. So I think it's just streamlined or sped up a little bit, that timeline. But yeah, those are 3 guys for sure. And then you look at the nickel, that's Garrett Williams' job. That's always going to be Garrett Williams' job. He is CB1 of this team, in my opinion. And now you hope that you can get a Will Johnson, Max Melton, be a lockdown outside guy, Starling Thomas V too. But you're really hoping these younger dudes can come up and really take this stranglehold and run with it.
I want to go over to the offensive side of the ball. We saw the NFL, they always do their top 100 players of the year. This year, they ended up having Trey McBride, the tight end, come out at number 65. With Trey McBride being that high up there, it seems to me that that's going to be the go-to guy in the offense. Do you think there's going to be a step forward with Marvin Harrison Jr., or is this going to be the Trey McBride show again?
Oh, no, I think it's got to be a step forward for Marvin if they want to have this offense take that next step. Obviously, Trey McBride's still going to get his. I can see his touchdowns doubling at least, because he shouldn't have just like 2 or 3 touchdowns in a year because he's way better than that. Just weird things happen there. But no, I really think this is year 2 with Kyler, and Marvin has to hit, because if they can get really going offensively, it's going to open up everything else. It's going to make Trey McBride get a lot more easier looks. It's going to give James Conner more running room, because people are going to be focused on double teaming Marvin and taking away from the running game. So that is really one of the biggest things I'm looking for. And, talking to Marvin today, he's a lot more relaxed. You can just tell, even talking at the podium from what he was last year, you can just tell he is very much in his bag, ready to go, ready to showcase that he's bulked up. And the relaxed part, I think, is very, very evident right now. And that can only mean good things moving forward.
After you talked to Marvin Harrison today, are you able to confirm that the photos are not Photoshopped? Does it really look like he's gotten to 220? Because from what I've seen on the social media, man, it looks like he ate Marvin Harrison Jr. from last year.
Well, he did confirm. Yeah, he's listed at 220, was 209 last year. I think a couple of us were like, really? He's only 220? He looks like he might have a couple more pounds on there. But, he said he's feeling great. He feels like he's more explosive, more powerful. But at the same time, he's just Marvin and hasn't really changed much. The biggest challenge he had this offseason, it sounds like, eating breakfast on a regular basis because he needed to bulk up. So, I mean, if that's your biggest issue in the offseason, I think you're going to do all right in year 2.
All right, last thing for you, Ty, and then we'll let you spend the rest of your night with your family. I want you to give me the one guy that we're not talking about enough that you're very excited to watch in this upcoming camp. Who is it and why?
Oh, man, I keep saying this name. I think a lot of people know I'm going to go this way. Xavier Weaver. I think he's bulked up too. I don't think he's getting enough talk, and I think he could very much fit a need for this team as kind of that down the field burner that they really could use. It could help with Marvin getting open more, could help with really everything else in the offense. And he's a guy who can really beat guys down the field. So bulking up, Jonathan Gannon talked on Arizona Sports a couple weeks ago, I think, and he brought his name up out of nowhere. And I think that was the first kind of, okay, if JG's randomly bringing this guy up, maybe there's something going on there. He's really liking the fact that he's bulked up and can be more in that contested catch arena. So that's one guy I'm looking for just to show stop. Greg Dortch, obviously, he's going to be a guy to look for. And I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr., like, what can he do? What can he really show us in training camp to really solidify that, yeah, he's at that next step and he's ready to go?
Connor, I think I know what position group Tyler's going to be watching the most, given he just listed 3 receivers before we
D-line 2. D-line 2.
All right. Tyler Drake, he's going to be covering training camp all camp long for the next several weeks. Be sure to follow him, TDrake4Sports, on his socials. Thanks so much, Ty. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
See you, dudes.
All right, that's Tyler Drake. Be sure to, again, follow his coverage all camp long. When we come back, we're going to pivot to the hardwood. Kevin Zimmerman of the Empire of the Suns podcast and our lead editor here at Arizona Sports. He's going to join us next here on Arizona Sports at Night.
Bickley and Morada mornings.
Last year, Marvin Harrison Jr., the physicality of the pro game seemed to have an effect on him. Love the fact that he went out and he looks like a damn Adonis now.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, you can say, oh, he got bigger, but when the Cardinals' social media posted the side-by-sides from year 1 to year 2, it looked like his arms doubled in size.
Yeah.
He's just a house now.
And the fact that he acted so nonchalant about it. Well, I didn't do anything special.
What's the opposite of Ozempic? Grozempic?
Grozempic.
Bickley and Morada, mornings on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
This is Greg Hagan. I want to put cash in your pocket. Do you care about getting the most for your home? Thousands of extra dollars in your pocket, tens of thousands more. But what if you're currently trying to sell your home and it's sitting unsold? Your home is worth a lot more than you think. Want more for your home? More money for your home. Hands down, you'll get a higher price for your home at 72sold.com.
If you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of a home remodel, don't stress. The Window Depot is here to help. At the Window Depot, we're your one-stop warehouse for everything you need for your next remodel. Windows? Check. Doors? Got it. Cabinets, countertops, and everything in between? You'll find it all here at the lowest prices. Whether it's a kitchen, bathroom, or whole home makeover, our experienced designers are ready to bring your dream home to life, all at unbeatable prices. Find a location near you or shop online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Dan Bickley here with my guy Bear, one of the Henley brothers who runs Walt's TV and Appliance, conveniently located off the I-10 in Warner. And Bear, what do our listeners get by shopping at Walt's?
Well, Dan, you'll get great expertise and great prices. We'll give you the best in-store and in-home experience every time. We also offer same-day delivery 7 days a week. Come check out our great selection, speak with our knowledgeable staff, and enjoy worry-free installation done by a pro. Only at Walt's. Shop local. Shop Waltz.
At Cox, we're always a step ahead. Like your dog, who barks before the doorbell rings. Senses trouble before there's trouble. Like advanced security that blocks online threats before they happen. And knows when the peanut butter's hiding medicine. That's why we keep surprises off your bill. With Price Lock, the price of your internet and mobile plan won't go up for up to 3 years guaranteed. Right, Sir Berkalot? Cox, a step ahead. Requires at least 500 megabits per second speeds and gig unlimited mobile taxes and fees excluded from Price Lock. Mobile data speeds reduced after 20 gigs.
You've heard the saying, it's hard to stop a train. When it comes to putting smiles on children's faces at the Phoenix Children's Hospital, nothing will get in the way when the Teddy Bear Express pulls into town. Train is the proud sponsor of this year's Give-a-thon, giving hundreds of teddy bears to children currently undergoing treatment at PCH. For the past 9 years, Train's commitment ensures that every child's journey through treatment is accompanied by a comforting companion, reminding them they're not alone in their fight.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, this is Dave Burns and John Gambadoro. And every year we hear far too many heartbreaking stories involving children in water. Please take 2 seconds out of your day to help prevent these tragedies. Learn life-saving water safety tips and enter to win swim lessons from the YMCA and a pool alarm from Lifebuoy. Go to Fulton2seconds.com or text SWIM to 620-620. And never forget that 2 seconds is too long to take your eyes off kids near water.
This is Doug Fulton of Fulton Homes, proud to partner with KTAR to keep your kids safe around water.
Hey, it's Vince Marotta. Join us Thursday. We'll get all the storylines from day one of Arizona Cardinals training camp. The fun starts at 6 here on Arizona Sports.
Working to get connected with Kevin Zimmerman. Technology is always fun, Connor. You know this better.
Oh, yeah. I've
better
been
than
there.
anybody. So while we work on that, I'm actually just going to...
Don't worry. While you work on that, we'll cue up a little bit of what we were thinking. We were going to get a little bit into the Phoenix Suns Summer League. I know that's some exciting talk there to get into, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of what we have going forward. I'm not against it because I actually like it. I thought there were some fun names to pay attention to in Summer League. I was interested to see how Kamal Malawach was going to see, how Rasheer Fleming looked. Kobe Brea specifically I wanted to see. I keep hearing about this NBA range, this ability to shoot. Well, he looked relatively good out there.
Yeah, I was going to say that the highlights of what we wanted to see were good. But then Kaman Malawach, there wasn't necessarily that explosion from Kaman that I guess we would have expected, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world. Like the hope is that during Summer League, you at least get an idea of what these guys are going to be, and let's not overreact. Speaking of not overreacting, we have Kevin Zimmerman. He's joining us now here on Arizona Sports Line. Kev, can you hear us okay? How are we doing?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can also hear you. We got some things to work technology-wise. You won't be able to see Kevin, but you can hear Kevin, and I think that's the most important thing. So thank goodness for that. All right, we were just getting into talk about Summer League, so let's start there. Is there anybody in particular from Summer League that stood out to you, and why, for good or bad?
Yeah, I think Ryan Dunn's pretty obvious. Just like he should be a rotation guy, he should be in the mix. But then you go down the line, Oso Ighodaro, I think is super interesting because like the center rotation is pretty much filled, and he's going to have to play power forward, and he had a lot of reps there. And obviously, he's not going to bring a jumper this year. Sorry, everyone, but I think just him being able to hit the glass hard, add a little ball handling to the passing we already knew he possessed, he's going to be super interesting in just how he fits alongside the centers. And then I think Rasheer Fleming for me is another guy who just obviously missed a couple games with injury, but you see why they drafted him. You see the athleticism, and you see kind of the energy stuff that he can bring. So those two guys, I think, after Ryan Dunn, stood out to me.
I kind of want to ask you, just going back on Malawach there, Oso Ighodaro, Rasheer Fleming, those three guys, those are going to be the ones that are cycling through as the young kind of, let's call it the center, the forward. What's going to be the difference maker? I think for me, Malawach looks like he's still trying to adjust to the NBA speed. He just got drafted a couple months ago, so I'm not worried about that. But do you think there's going to be a difference maker that separates one of these guys from the rest?
Yeah, I think I agree with Malawach. Even just watching him at Duke and how he just moves right now, I think he's more of a project than you would say if you even said he was a top 5 pick. So I think that finding 15 minutes a game where he can just get some reps is going to be super important this year. And then beyond that, Mark Williams is just about being healthy. Production is there when he's healthy. And to me, that's the biggest swing for him. It's pretty simple for him. He's going to have the starting center spot pretty much on lockdown, I think, for most of the season, unless those injuries pop up. And that's where it's okay. Is Malawach ready if that is 20 games in the season, 40 games in the season? Is Oso Ighodaro going to have to play there if Malawach isn't ready? Like, I'm prepared there, and I'm not saying that was a bad pick by them at all. I just think Malawach has a ways to go in terms of, even in summer league, can you be productive? Can you rebound? That was still a question coming out of it. I think everyone's buying in because he's a good kid and works really hard. So I'm not super worried about him, but I just think it's going to take time.
Kevin Zimmerman, one half of the Empire of the Suns podcast with Kellen Olson, and then also as our lead editor for us at Arizona Sports, joining us here to talk some Phoenix Suns. We'll get on the news of the day right now. A couple of guards coming in, and that kind of rounds out the extra slot on the roster. It sounds like it's going to be competition per what Gambo has been saying, but Jordan Goodwin and Jared Butler, what should we know about them, and where should we put our expectation level, I guess, for these two?
Yeah, super interesting because obviously I think Suns fans know Jordan Goodwin, his best skill might be rebounding, and he's really a point guard and a defender, which, they could use the rebounding, they can use the size and the defense at the one. So I think he kind of has the edge. Colin Gillespie's more of the offensive option there, where if we're talking traditional point guards, just pace, flow, getting the offense moving. So I think those guys have the edge there. And Butler, I can't say I watched much of him lately, but I did watch him a bit in college, and he fits kind of the Goodwin role of more of a combo guard, but defense is really gritty. He's a little more undersized, like Gillespie. But so they're going to have this group of 3 point guards, you could say, who all fit gonna play hard, gonna bring a little different things compared to one another. And it's like, who shoots well, who can move the offense and play good defense on top of that. So I think like there's going to be only 2 spots, and it might be only really one just because you have enough 2 guards on this roster. And I think the bigger thing from the 2 signings today is this team is committed to saving money this year. And I think that's a good thing. I think they learn from just spending doesn't get you wins. And if there's not like a perfect, mid-level exception guy who you pay $8 million even right now on the market, who I can't even think of right now, then you do, save money, be under the tax, and be prepared to spend money more when there's that perfect fit of a guy you need. So, yeah, they don't have a traditional point guard, but I think they're just being careful about who they bring in and making sure, like, all 3 guys fit the grit, the defense. They're just going to be good team players with Book and Jalen Green.
What about Boogie Ellis? We saw him catch a little bit of lightning in a bottle there during Summer League. Does he have a shot at this, or is that just one of those guys someone's got to score?
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of is in the same boat as them, but probably like 4th on the line down. Like, I don't know if he's a G League option and makes training camp too, just to get more reps, but he also he was more like a scorer at USC when we saw him rip the Pac-12, but like he was diving on the floor, putting pressure in the backcourt.
Slight freeze by Kev. We'll see if he comes back in just a moment. But Boogie in particular, it felt like they just added him as a camp. Oh, it sounds like we got Kevin back. All right, Kev, go ahead. I think we have Kevin.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're
Did you
good.
not hear my Boogie Ellis?
We just wanted more Boogie Ellis talk. Was what we were desperate for. Tell you what, we'll slightly pivot here because I'm just more so curious about the complete roster construction the way that it is right now. It seems very top heavy in the sense that it's very tall and then it's very short at the bottom. There's not a lot of there's not a breadth of sizes on this team. It's very, very, very tall or very, very short. And I don't know how it's supposed to be seen as a coherent roster the way that it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you take this roster into next season without many major changes, I think it's, hey, you're going to play small, but you're going to be able to switch a lot, and then you're going to be able to put pressure on guys further out at the 3-point line defensively. And then you have the big centers behind them just being able to cover when you get blown by because you're a little overly aggressive. So that's what I think it's built like right now. Like, Is Dylan Brooks or Royce O'Neal going to have to play some 4? Yes, but if you have Jordan Goodwin getting some rebounds, if you have Mark Williams being productive in the rebounding department, maybe you have to play Oso, then at least you have a couple options as far as not getting killed on the boards, and you will have good rim protection. So I think they can get away with the roster as is, but I'm more concerned about the offensive thing, I think, on that side.
And then final question here for me. Do you think that there's any more moves to be made, or do you think that there's anybody from last year's roster who may not be there next year? Guys like Grayson Allen, maybe, Colin Gillespie. I think Colin they seem to like, but there might be some other names who may not be part of the Suns roster once the season rolls around.
Yeah, I think Grayson, who you mentioned, and Royce O'Neal just have the $10 to $15 million contracts that are tradable in the respect of just the amount and the dollar amount. And obviously those guys could go on a winning team and be winning pieces. So, when we talk about the theoreticals of Jonathan Kuminga, like you could package those two guys together. So they're just in a better spot to be able to make those types of moves. And those two guys, I think, are especially going to be useful. And it's probably not going to come till more of the trade deadline where, if there's a guy making $25 million and the team just is resetting or done with him in terms of the fit, and the Suns could pull the trigger then. But right now, yeah, it kind of looks like they're just going to roll with what they got.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. We got a couple of months before they start training camp. Kev, thanks so much for taking the time this evening. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
That's Kevin Zimmerman joining us here on Arizona Sports at Night to talk some Phoenix Suns. When we come back, hour number 2 of Arizona Sports at Night, we'll go back to the Diamondbacks. So, assuming they trade what they need to trade, what is this team going to look like next season? That's next here on Arizona Sports at Night.
You and your phone have the key to the Arizona Sports universe with the Arizona Sports app. Bickley and Murata, Wolf and Luke, Burns and Gambo, live streaming shows and podcasts. Plus, listen to D-backs play-by-play. Download the Arizona Sports app, presented by Ready Services Plumbing and Air Conditioning.
Hey everybody, Dan Bickley here, and last year during the heat of summer, I had an air conditioning bill of $666, and I thought it was proof that we live in purgatory. In reality, that obscene bill arrived because my windows are shot, and I cannot wait to get them replaced by Advanced Window Products, a great company co-owned by former Utah great and NFL linebacker Nate Orchard, and the highest-rated window company in Arizona. They also offer the most affordable high-quality custom windows in the state, and they can do all of this because there is no middleman. They have their own factory in the valley. They build it, they install it, they guarantee it for life. And get this, Advanced Window Products currently running a great summertime special. Buy 10 or more windows, and you'll get $2,500 off. So do what I'm doing. Call now and beat the rush. 480-764-2002 or visit advancedwindows.com.
Will Swartz here, owner of State 48 Home Comfort. Got a quote for a new AC unit? Don't lock it in just yet. We're offering the best value in town, beating estimates by up to 20%. You heard that right, up to 20%. It's simple. Go to submittosave.com, upload your quote, and see how much you can save. That's submit2save.com. Again, that's submit2save.com. Let me help you keep cool, save big, and experience comfort you can count on this summer.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
A summer, it can be a four-letter word in Phoenix. We get it. No, not during the Ford Summer Sales Event going on right now at our Desert Ford dealers. Yep, it is here, and it is a great time to buy a Ford. Paul Calvisi here, that is exactly what we did late last summer. Bought my wife a brand new Ford Explorer at our Desert Ford dealers. My daily driver, my Ford Edge, love the versatility, the capability. And you know what? Check out Ford's full lineup, because during the Summer Sales Event, it is on, like the legendary Ford F-Series trucks with all that capability you need to get the job done, or a tech-savvy SUV like the all-new 2025 Ford Expedition with that Ford digital experience and panoramic 24-inch display. And don't forget the Bronco family, making adventure more epic every time you go out on the road. Work or play, the power is yours. Or get plugged in, or do a little bit of both. But hurry, the Ford Summer Sales Event won't last forever at our Desert Ford dealers. Click buyfordnow.com. Hey, we can use vacation days, or every day can be that escape with a brand new pool from California Pools and Landscape. And this month they're celebrating 37 years of creating backyard bliss with a free water feature. A free water feature with your new pool. Hey, Casa Calvisi is one of more than 36,000 projects that California Pools and Landscape has built. They have an A+ rating with a Better Business Bureau, and they're making a donation to Phoenix Children's for every pool sold this year. See my backyard transformation at calpool.com/Paul.
KMVP FM Phoenix.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
On the Arizona Sports app and on 98.7.
Hey, it's Rick. When will the Diamondbacks start making trades ahead of the deadline? We'll discuss tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports.
I tell you what, we may have just gotten a hint. Hour number 2, Arizona Sports at night. Mitch Vareldes, Connor Collins in for Kellen Olson tonight. John Heyman of the New York Post, MLB Network. This is not an actual trade. I would have hit the breaking news sounder if it was, but this is just maybe the warning of the impending storm, per se. Diamondbacks, this is his direct quote, Diamondbacks, beset by bad luck this year, are nearly resigned to selling now. Eugenio Suarez, Josh Naylor, Merrill Kelly, and Zach Gallen are all free agents, and talks will presumably start getting serious soon. Close quote.
Kind of what you and I were thinking here, and honestly, it sets us up pretty well because we've talked about it. We both are in agreement this team should be going into the trade deadline as sellers. They should be fielding calls as soon as earlier today. But now it comes into, what does this team look like in the future? Is this going to be a team in 2026 and 2027 that's still going to be able to compete? Or is this going to have to be something where if you're trading away guys, are you expecting to do the full reset button?
So I think that the most responsible course of action is that they do not hit the reset button. Here's what I mean. I think a lot of people are frustrated by what they've seen, and justifiably so. But I don't think that this is a team that needs to just sell everything and destroy everything, right? I think what this team can do is sell off the pieces that are going to be expiring. So that's Naylor, Suarez, Kelly, Gallen. However many of them you want to sell off, do that. Try and recoup what you can and use that to help the foundation that already exists for next year's team. So sell what you can, but you're not necessarily breaking down this roster to the studs. You still have Ketel Marte. You still have Corbin Carroll, Geraldo Perdomo, Brandon Pfaadt. That's a pretty good core right there. And then even if you want to tack onto it, Ryan Nelson is going to be in tow for next season. You've got Gabriel Moreno, who everybody seems to like, but sooner or later I would like them to make a definitive decision on his contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr., that was a name that Gambo threw out there that he heard is they're getting calls on now. He's got one more year after this year. He's not necessarily lived up to the all-star level that he did in the first half of his first season, but I know that he's a lovable face here, a likable guy here. The purple hair, I mean, La Pina power, come on. They don't have to give away everything. And that doesn't mean that it's going to make them any worse for next year, because I think that this team could actually compete next year.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact that they're going to be down 3 of their key pitchers at the start of next year, too.
I'll go ahead and I'll make the comparison to kind of what we saw earlier this year with the Phoenix Suns. As they were going into that trade deadline, it was another team that had high expectations, and they were going into that deadline right around 500. The difference is that was a team where I think no matter what, there was no 2026, 2027. You know, I kind of think the Suns, the writing was on the wall for where that team was.
Right.
And that's why they decided to try to trade Kevin Durant a little too late at the time. But that's something where I think the Diamondbacks are able to correct themselves. Don't be too late. Don't wait till the deadline's about to hit and then decide to make these decisions.
But they also need to make sure they have a market. And what I mean by that is they can't just take the first offer that's given to them, because these are probably 4 of the most coveted assets that you have available. And I hate talking about these individuals, these men, these people, like they are assets. But for the purpose of the exercise, they are assets for the Diamondbacks. They are valuable to several teams across Major League Baseball, which means the Diamondbacks need to make sure that they are hearing any and all possible offers that they could get for any of these guys. That's going to be primary goal number 1.
What do you think is a reasonable return value for a guy like Suarez?
So, all right, I'll tell you what. Jeff Passan does a weekly hit with our sister station in Seattle.
Yeah.
And they're curious about Eugenio Suarez. So I'm going to play this cut of what Passan said to Brock and Salk, which is their morning show, talking about Eugenio Suarez and could he go back to the Mariners.
I think the New York Yankees probably need Eugenio Suarez more than the Mariners do. Now, the Yankees do not have the farm system that the Mariners do, and the Yankees have a need for starting pitching in the big leagues right now, where a guy like Cam Schlittler, who 6'8", up to 99, absolute monster. They probably in other years might be more willing to move him for someone like Suarez. But now the Diamondbacks are going to be looking for pitching. So that puts who in play? Is Logan Evans in play? Like, is that something, I'll ask you guys, is that something that you'd be willing to do for someone in Suarez who's a rental? Maybe not 1-for-1, but if it were Suarez and Naylor, would you be willing to put Logan Evans in that deal? Or are you looking more to go from the position prospect depth that you have?
So if we just focus on those 2 teams, the Yankees and the Mariners, it sounds like the Mariners would have better prospects to offer.
Yeah.
There's reports out there that the focus should be get yourself some pitchers, or that's what the Diamondbacks want. The Diamondbacks want pitching, and they want pitching that can contribute relatively sooner rather than later. And the Mariners, to Jeff Passan's cut there, Logan Evans, young right-handed pitcher. There's another one that I know of Emerson Hancock. They've given him some run at the major league level. I just wonder what the Mariners would be willing to give up for what is right now just a rental. They have no guarantee of, let's pretend it's Eugenio Suarez beyond this season.
Yeah, and that's kind of the risk you run, right? That's kind of goes back to that comparison I said earlier with the Kawhi Leonard getting picked up. Is you can get somebody at the mid-year trade deadline, and they can come in and help you win a championship. But that doesn't mean that player is going to want to stay there, and that's something that you're going to have to consider as a franchise as well. Is it worth the trade-off? Is it worth giving away a potential prospect like a guy like Schlittler who could be there and be part of this franchise? Somebody who I think, as we mentioned, could potentially step in sooner rather than later with the way this bullpen's gone. But do you want to hold off on that? I don't know. It's a hard thing to balance. I think the one thing with Suarez and the Mariners is there's a little bit of a fan base behind him. So if you do decide to get him for the 1-year rental, there's at least the ability to try to market that and keep him.
And that's where he just was. Before he came to the Diamondbacks, he was traded by the Mariners to here. For him to go back there, and for that is a team that desperately could use an offensive bat behind the major league leader.
And that's my selling point, right?
Yeah.
Is if you're going to your fan base and you're saying, we're bringing Suarez back. Now, again, it sucks when you look at the other side of the grass and if Suarez is holding up that trophy, and I'm not saying that he's winning the World Series in Seattle, but I'm saying what if he wins an MVP? What if he's the home run leader? What if he just does everything that we wanted him to continue doing here he just continues to do over there. That's the trade-off that you have to deal with. But when 2025 is up in the air and he's going to go up for free agency, I mean, you kind of got to make those business decisions.
I wonder, to your point, I wonder when they're going to start selling, because they have an off day today. They're done for today. They have an off day tomorrow. They're traveling to Pittsburgh. They start a 9-game road trip and a 3-game series with the Pirates on Friday. I wonder how many of those guys are gone before the Tigers series. Because if the reporting is correct, and it's not just John Heyman, I think Gambo has hinted at the same, it seems like this team is firmly entrenched as a seller. So I hope they're building the market now. And I hope that they're working out who could come back in return right now and trying to drive up some prices here and there. All right, coming up next, we're done being sad about the Diamondbacks. So we're going to try and be happy about the Cardinals. But then we got hit with the news out of Cardinals. What does it mean if the first rounder can't play during training camp? That's next here on Arizona Sports at Night.
Cardinals Training Camp 2025, The Red Reckoning. The Red Reckoning. 90 players enter State Farm Stadium at the beginning of camp. Only 53 can earn a spot on the
This is the Arizona Department of Public Safety. A turquoise alert has been issued for Arizona. Hawaii Police Department is looking for 6-year-old white female Violet Coultaz, 3 feet 10 inches tall, blonde hair, hazel eyes, last seen wearing a white shirt, pink jacket, pink sweater, light-colored shorts and white shoes. Last seen at Sky Harbor Airport on July 16 with non-custodial mother Sarah Coultaz, 48-year-old white female, 5 feet 11, 160 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes.
Location. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/delivery for more details.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Dan Bickley here for Parker & Sons, and summertime in Arizona means triple-digit temperatures and hours spent indoors, which means now is a great time to get your air conditioning unit tuned up by Parker & Sons, which can prolong the life of your system, save you up to $30 a month on utility bills, and give you the peace of mind you need entering the long, hot summer ahead. Call 602-2-REPAIR. That's 602 the number 2, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons.
Summer's here, and so are friends, family, and fun. But emergencies don't take a vacation. That's why having naloxone in your home first aid kit matters. Naloxone can reverse an opioid overdose fast. It's safe, easy to use, and it could save a life while you wait for help to arrive. This summer, be ready. Add naloxone to your home first aid kit because seconds matter. and so do the people you love. Learn more at naloxoneaz.org. That's naloxoneaz.org.
All right, Takis fans. Wendy's knows you love your Takis Fuego chips, so we thought, why not make a Takis Fuego meal with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich with spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis Fuego chips and creamy corn spread. Plus, it comes with Fuego fries inspired by Takis and a bag of Takis Fuego chips. If we had any more heat, we might start an actual... I told him this would happen. For an intense new take on Takis chips, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Includes 1 ounce Takis Fuego chips while supplies last. Takis and Fuego trademarks are used under license.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Hey, it's Vince Marotta. Join us Thursday. We'll get all the storylines from day one of Arizona Cardinals training camp. The fun starts at 6 here on Arizona Sports.
I hope it's more fun than the news that we got today.
Couple injury notes for you guys. Bilal won't be out there, coming back from the neck still. BJ won't be out there, coming back from the knee. And a new one that popped up was Walter hurt his calf training, so he's going to miss some time. And all three of them are doing everything they can to get back on the field.
It completely counteracts the "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" by Michael Jackson. It really, really does. Arizona Sports at Night. Mitch Varel, there's Connor Collins in for Kellen Olson tonight. We're back after like 3 weeks, a month. I was listening back. I usually have Burnsy record a evening look ahead for the next day Burns and Gambo show, and I listened back to it. It was around the time that Rafael Devers got traded to the Giants.
Oh, actually, I believe Rafael Devers is about to make his first start at first baseman. I think it's either today or tomorrow.
I think he did it recently.
Was it yesterday?
I think it was yesterday.
He's been playing bad.
Yeah, it's been rough for them, but it doesn't matter for the Diamondbacks' perspective, unfortunately, anymore. But either way, that's how long it's been. Rafael Devers got traded like a month ago.
Yeah.
And it feels it's crazy. So we're back. Happy to be back. We're also streaming on YouTube right now. So if you want to watch us on YouTube, go over to the Arizona Sports YouTube channel. Or, of course, if you're listening right now and you missed something that we talked about earlier, we did a bunch of Diamondbacks talk already. We're done talking about Diamondbacks because they make us sad. But if you want to listen to Diamondbacks talk later on, we will save the podcast. We always put the timestamps in there. So if you want to listen to something specific, you can always listen to it then. Also, we try to make sure that the conversations last a little bit longer because our show is so sporadic. So we want to make sure that if you miss us dearly and you want to listen to our content, we try to give you stuff that you can listen to a few days later. I mean, it'll be difficult to do because, let's see, what have we talked about so far? Hoping that the Diamondbacks have put out this for sale sign. What could they get back in trades? And then the start of Cardinals training camp where we found out the first-round rookie that they drafted is hurt and is going to miss a majority of camp, Connor.
Yeah, it's a hump day, but it started off a little sad here. But you know what? Things are going to get better. The good thing is, let me find a bright side. You do have a couple guys banged up in that defensive line room. However, you stocked up this offseason. So you have some depth there. Now I feel a little bit more comfortable where if Walter Nolan does have to take some time back from this calf injury, hopefully nothing as long as Darius Robinson took, or if you have to worry about a guy like Bilal Nichols or BJ Ojulari taking their time to come back, it's not the end of the world. You brought in guys like Josh Sweat to help you with some of that pass rush. You brought in guys like Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell to bring some of that kind of that mentality up front, to stay sturdy, I would say. They want to be consistent, and they want to make sure that they are always causing pressure and putting an emphasis on that run defense.
Do we have a timeline on Nolan's recovery? Head coach Jonathan Gannon?
I don't know, Danny, honestly. They're all different, so he's recovering, rehabbing, and he'll get out there when he needs to get out there, but he's going to miss some time.
See, here's my frustration. Yes, you could protect yourself by saying, well, they spent the entire offseason bulking up their defense and bulking up the defensive front. So you protect yourself if something like this were to happen. Bilal Nichols, he's recovering from the neck injury that he dealt with most of last year. Fine. Okay. BJ Ojulari, he's recovering from the ACL tear that kept him out all of last year. Okay, fine. This sucks from the perspective of this is the guy that they drafted in the first round, had enough questions about whether or not he was truly committed to the game of football or not, and now he's going to be missing all of training camp when, quite frankly, I saw him as somebody who was going to be getting 75% or more of the snaps on the front line. And now he's not even going to get one rep during the preseason, during training camp. He might not even make it to week 1. And we saw how long it took for Darius Robinson to recover last year with his calf injury. This sucks. That straight up, this sucks. I'm bummed. I'm so bummed that he's not going to be able to play.
I think the thing that hurts the most is when you hear kind of coach's comments. It doesn't sound like they plan on having him really start any rehab process until the back half of training camp, even if then. So it, for a calf strain, it seems maybe, and I don't want to speculate, I don't want to put anything out there, but it could be something more just because usually a calf strain doesn't take that long. You're not holding somebody out the entirety of training camp, especially, like you said, your first round investment.
But you had brought it up earlier about how we've seen a rise of calf injuries and then resultingly a freak amount of Achilles injuries in the NBA this past season. I get it, they're two different sports, but they require the same amount of leg tension, pressure, muscle usage. I don't want this getting any worse than it already is. So if that's going to be the biggest argument as to, hey, Mitch, calm down, don't freak out, you want him to at least make it through his freshman year, okay, fine. I will calm down. But again, how valuable this time is in terms of learning the system, learning different tendencies about your teammates, learning different ways that you can exploit opportunities against your opponents, like on the offensive side of the ball. These are learning opportunities that are now gone. He doesn't get the physical reps. You have to trust that the mental reps are going to be there, and it puts extra pressure on Walter to be able to really ingest those mental reps because that's all he can really do right now.
Yeah, I mean, for Walter Nolan, it comes down to a point of, for one, the good news is, like you mentioned, there was questions about the person, if he is committed, the character. This is a guy who got hurt in the offseason, training for the upcoming season, and it wasn't like he was off in Timbuktu doing something with some random Instagram trainer. He was on the facilities.
What do you know about Instagram trainers in Timbuktu?
I'm just saying that, man. Hey, I'm a Cowboy fan. Trayvon Diggs just got fined for being off in South Beach, Miami, doing whatever he does instead of being at rehab. I don't know. These guys all got their own people, but the good thing is Walter Nolan was making that dedication to trying to get better, to be on the property of the team that drafted him. It's a tough blow. It really is, because when you look at training camp, especially before pads have even come on, you don't really want to hear about any of your big guys getting any type of injuries, lower body extremities.
I don't want to hear about anybody getting
like
injuries,
But that's what I'm saying. There is no contact.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear injuries, especially if there's no contact, because those are the injuries that tend to scare me the most.
Can head coach Jonathan Gannon sense the frustration from Nolan, BJ Ojulari, and Bilal Nichols?
Yeah, it's but they know it's part of the game. The Bilal and BJ got hurt playing football. Walter gets hurt doing the right things, training. You know what I mean? It's part of the game. It happens, and you just control the controllables, honestly. So.
And I mean that's been the mantra been hammered home by Gannon, is control the controllables one day at a time, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, I was just excited to see what this defense could do. I was excited to see how the competition was going to play out on that front line. And now one less individual playing out in that front line, it just has me bummed. But let's try and turn this into a positive. The guy that I mentioned in that conversation, Darius Robinson, I'm really curious to see what he has to offer in camp, because he's somebody they invested highly in last year. He was who they used with the first-round pick they got from the Houston Texans a year ago, and then everything that went wrong on the field and off the field for him last year. He only got 6 games. I'm wondering what a full season and a full preseason for Darius Robinson can do for his development, because I think now, with Walter Nolan out, there's going to be even greater expectation for Robinson to contribute right away.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be, like you said, a greater expectation to contribute. And the fact that he's going to be playing alongside a guy like Calais Campbell, who's been there, who's done that, can kind of tell him, hey, Rook, or I guess not Rook, but sophomore player in this instance, it feels like a rookie year. But just kind of give him the layout. How can you make it through a season without having your body get banged up? How are you able to see when a play is coming your way? How are you able to see when a play is going opposite of you? Things like that. That's the experience I'm excited that Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson has brought to that defensive line room, and I hope it carries over because they were able to get a guy like Josh Sweat, who, to be fair, was probably the game changer for the Philadelphia Eagles in that Super Bowl this past year, and you bring him in to kind of give you that edge rush. To me, that's the type of guy that takes this defense to the next level, and that's where they need to stack these days. It sucks that Walter Nolan's not going to be there right now, but I do believe they've done enough in the offseason to build up that room that you can still feel confident if you had to go to war with the guys right now.
I mean, look, they've definitely done enough. They've done enough to the point where their depth is a problem in a good way. Like, you can have conversations about depth being a bad thing in terms of who the depth is, but they have depth, and it's a really good thing.
I would argue in football, you can never have too much depth of anything. Just because the season is so long, you never know when anything's going to happen. It's such a physical sport. So, yeah, I mean, it makes total sense.
All right, coming up next, we're going to stick with the Cardinals. And moving out of news, we're going to get into storylines. What are things that Connor and I in particular are keeping our eyes on as camp is getting started? That's next here on Arizona Sports at Night.
Wolf and Luke, middays 10 to 2.
I just don't think there's much the Cardinals could do this year where Gannon would be in trouble at the end of the year. When he got here, they were a mess. And I know it wasn't just him getting here, but when he got here, they were a mess. Even though the record wasn't better in year one, they looked different. And in year two, the record was significantly better. And so they were 8-9 last year. If they go out there and go 8-9 this year or 7-10 this year, I think Kyler, his future with the Cardinals is very much up in the air. I think Gannon, worst case, would end up maybe on the hot seat going into next year. When you look at the Cardinals, you're like, okay, what do they have going for them? I think you put Gannon on that side of things.
Wolf and Luke, middays 10 to 2 on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, but one thing's for sure. You need a PC you can rely on. Whether it's for school, gaming, or whatever your next chapter holds, Lenovo.com has the tech to help you succeed. Shop PCs right now at Lenovo.com during their back-to-school sale, where students can save more when they sign up for a Lenovo education account. Free shipping, easy returns, flexible financing. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-329-2121. That's 800-329-2121.
Hey everybody, it's Dan Bickley, and if you are dealing with joint pain, let's get you some relief. Right now, QC Kinetics is offering free laser treatments all through the month of July when you schedule your complimentary consultation. Now, you've probably heard me talk about QC Kinetics and their innovative non-surgical treatments for joint pain, and during your first visit, they'll actually do a free laser treatment on the area that's been bothering you, and that'll help decrease the pain, calm the inflammation, and increase your range of motion. Get long-term relief for pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back without surgery. And at QC Kinetics right now, you've got nothing to lose and a free laser treatment to gain just by booking your consultation this month. So why wait? Call QC Kinetics today. Tell them I sent you. You can find them in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Peoria, and Chandler, and you can reach them by calling 602-837-PAIN. That's 602-837-PAIN for QC Kinetics.
At Spark Men's Health, we treat ED differently. Instant, lasting solutions tailored to you. 87% of our patients see results on their very first visit, or it's free. That's the Spark Guarantee. Reignite your confidence, your performance, your life. Book now at sparkmenshealth.com or call 480-550-8579. Again, 480-550-8579.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
A new diamond era begins. Desert Diamond Casino White Tanks is now open. An atmosphere sparkling with excitement and top names like the legendary Morton's Steakhouse and signature Starbucks coffee. Best of all, this stunning new destination is right at Loop 303 and Northern Parkway. So come and live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino.
An enterprise of the Thorna Automation.
Hey, it's Rick. Join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. from Arizona Cardinals training camp, as Wolf will be asking players what their weight is at and if they plan to get in any training camp fights. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports, the blood sport. Wow.
I mean, I don't define it by the definition, I guess, Darren, but, that's it. To me, it's an external factor. We're working hard every day, doing our best that we can, becoming a better football team.
Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon earlier today. Day one of training camp officially is in the books. First public training camp is tomorrow, so fans at State Farm Stadium will get to see this team in action for the first time in 2025/2026. Welcome back to Arizona Sports at Night. Mitch Vareldes, Connor Collins here with you in for Kellen Olson tonight. So we talked about notes. We got news and notes out of the way. We talked to Tyler Drake earlier. We know he's paying close attention to the wide receiver room in particular. And I feel like the wide receiver room is a good place to start because I don't think that it would be appropriate to talk about training camp storylines without talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. Not because he weighs 220 pounds, but because this is unless you want it to be, that's the
I mean,
story.
It definitely looks like he's been eating his buffalo burgers or whatever. I mean, bison burgers. He put on the weight. Like I said, whatever he did, heck, I want to get on it.
He's making Wendy's proud. Beef is what's for dinner for Marvin Harrison Jr. But more so, it's year two. Yes. The high expectations for him in year one, they were not met. Were they close to being met? I would say 75% met, but we didn't necessarily get the expectations that we were hoping for out of Marvin Harrison Jr. last year. So what does year two look like? And this is going to be our first look at what Marvin Harrison Jr. has really done to try and make year two better than year one, Connor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think one of the biggest storylines when it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr. is the connection with Kyler Murray. I think it's last year something that we heard, which kind of caught a lot of people to scratch their head, was Kyler Murray saying things along, it's not my job to make sure he gets the ball. Kind of is your job, Kyler Murray. But I get where he's coming from. He doesn't want to force feed a player. But when you go out and you select a wide receiver, number 4 overall, one of the best wide receivers in college football, you should almost make a point and an emphasis to force feed them the football. And we see it all the time, that sometimes in the first year, the rookie season, it usually gets about week 7, week 8. Once you get to week 10, though, these rookie wide receivers seem to have it together. We see it all the time. Keon Coleman last year, Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1,000-yard receiving season.
Malik Neighbors even figured it out.
1,000-yard receiving season.
And that, to me, leads, is there a skill issue or is it a mental issue? And when I say mental, I'm not saying he's not grasping the playbook. I'm saying, is the playbook necessarily built to complement his game? Because I think somebody like him should be getting more targets and clearly be getting more yards.
I would say it complements, well, I would hope that it complements his game, to your point, but I would also hope that Marvin is at least not necessarily holding the playbook to his chest and saying, I need to do it this way. Because if you do too many things by the book, then you're not adapting to things around you that are not written in said book, right? You need a competent balance of book smart and street smart. And I think that's where I'm going to be looking the most, because he's been on the record talking about how he doesn't want to just be too into the playbook. I think it was during minicamp. He had said last year was more about just making sure I hit the routes, making sure I hit the spots, this, that. This year needs to be more about, okay, keep that in the back of your mind, but also understand your matchup and understand where you are on the field relative to those around you. He was asked today about that year 2 jump. What does that look like to him?
I just always want to be a better player overall, doing my best to help the team accomplish our goals. Like I said, it just comes down to just winning. I want to win, as a team, want to win individually, just want to win just as a whole. So that's what it comes down to.
And you said specifically the chemistry with Kyler Murray. Here's him talking about the work that he put in with Kyler this offseason.
A lot of work, man, a lot of work. Obviously, we knew that's something that for the team to reach its goal is something that we got to, do better than we did last year. So we spent a lot of time all season, probably on the field too, but just off the field as well, just developing that relationship.
And that's what I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear that they took the time to do that, because when you have Kyler Murray, who quintessentially is probably going into a make or break year, you want his connection to be on par with his number one receiver. You want him to be coming back into that season form that he had with Trey McBride last year. I would love to see other wide receivers step up as well. There was a while where Greg Dortch would make a big play, or Michael Wilson sometimes make a big play, but just some consistency. Who can be that wide receiver too? Take some pressure off of Marvin Harrison Jr. and just open the field up. It never hurts to have more weapons.
There's a chance that at the end of the day, wide receiver 2 is Marvin Harrison Jr. because wide receiver 1 is Trey McBride.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, no, you're not going to line Trey McBride up on the outside and have him run burners down the sideline. You need Trey McBride still on the line. But what I mean is, it feels like Trey McBride is still the number one option, at least the number one option that Kyler Murray is most comfortable with. Can that be changed? Absolutely. Should it be changed? I think then it gets a little hairy if you're trying to force things one way or the other. There needs to be a competitive balance between those two, and then every receiver after that needs to complement those two, because I think those two are going to be absolutely 100% the focal point of the passing game this year.
I would think that there is, if we're being realistic, in today's NFL offense, there's no reason not to think that Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. are both over 1,000 yards.
Right.
Both have anywhere from 75 to 100 catches. And to be quite honest, I would love to see Trey McBride get in the end zone a little bit more. That was the one thing I was impressed with. Marvin Harrison Jr. was able to find the end zone. But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, those are going to be your two playmakers on offense. Your bell cow is still James Conner. You still have the mobility from Kyler Murray that defenses are going to have to worry about. But as far as that passing game goes, I would love to see, like you said, I think that this offense has catered to Trey McBride. They find ways to get him into matchups, and they find ways to get him open. And that's the type of stuff I would love to see for them to take with Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe put him in motion across formations, just anything that can get him open, anything that gets him a mismatch. Because like you said, he's read the playbook. Now it's time to start seeing the little things of the game.
Here's Trey McBride talking about if they talk about offensive expectations for this season.
I think we had a good season last year offensively, but there's always room to grow, and there's a lot of things that we didn't do well that we can improve on. And I think we have so many premier guys on this offense with James, Marvin, Mike, Dortch, Kyler, obviously, and a real strong front five. So I think the sky's the limit for this offense. I fully expect us to be a very dominant offense and to be very good in this league. So I'm excited to continue to grow, continue to get better, and play well with these guys.
What's another storyline that you're looking at? What's something else that's piquing your interest as we're getting camp underway here?
I'm interested, once the pads come on, the offensive line.
Okay.
I'd like to see how Isaiah Adams looks out there, as there's been a lot of talk as he's kind of just stepping into a role, where last year a lot of people said that he kind of had to fight for a role. Seems like the right guard spot's been given to him. And now, granted, anything can happen in training camp, but I'd love to see how he handles that pressure. And then the young guy, Hayden Conner, I'd like to see if he's able to make anybody just raise their game, or if he's able to kind of make some movements there. Again, I think this whole offensive line with the departure of Clayton Adams, they're going to have to figure some things out. It's a new offensive line coach. You're bringing in a new offensive line or a new offensive tackle. I just think that there's some things you're going to have to figure out before you feel good about it.
I think that if they were worried about the state of their offensive line, and in particular the right guard position, they would have done something by now. I've talked about this with Luke a few times this week already, because he too is just as curious about that right guard spot. His his confidence in the O-line is different than my confidence in the O-line. I'm actually confident enough that this offensive line is going to be just fine, and I don't have to worry about anything. And, well, anything is a little too pejorative. I don't have to worry about, oh gosh, is there a weakness on that right side because they're using somebody for the first time. Will Hernandez was not going to be readily available at the beginning, but I also think that if this team really wanted Will Hernandez back, he would have been signed by now. Outside of the fact that he's going to be rehabbing to start the year, if they wanted him because they had faith in him and because he was able to contribute at a high level for them when he was healthy, I would have thought they would have brought him in. And instead what they're doing is they're elevating a guy that they used a top 100 pick on, one of their third rounders last year, and they didn't necessarily make a flyer on it. This is a guy that they like in Hayden Connor to be his backup. I don't think it's going to be a full detriment to the offensive line because the other four guys have been there, done that. That's how I stand with it.
That's fair. And, you know, when you talk about the offensive line, it's going to come down to, one, the ability to stay healthy. That's going to be a huge part of this. Once the pads come on and once camp's rolled up, some of these guys may not even be available to go. Yeah. So that's always something we got to pay attention to. And then another storyline, I hate to keep harping on the offense, but I'd love to see who's going to be running back two. I think we got kind of cemented that James Conner is your bell cow, but we saw some good things out of Mario Tecaro last season. And then Trey Benson as well from Florida State. I wonder if he's going to take that step forward if he's coming off that injury.
Very disappointing season for Trey Benson last year.
I thought there was going to be an ability for him to end up as the lead back, and he just never quite was able to take that step forward.
It just felt like he was in the doghouse for most of the year, and Amari DiMercato was the quotes after the game every single time. Third down back.
Yeah.
Amari DiMercato. And even if DiMercato wasn't doing that great in a game, it was just they trusted him more than they trusted Trey Benson. At least that was the read at the time. The one last thing I'll bring up here. This is the year, right? Like, this is the year that we all expect this team to be back in the playoffs. I feel like this team understands that assignment as well. Even if they don't want to say it publicly, listen to Marvin Harrison Jr. What is he most excited for this season?
Win. That's the goal. That's the goal with everything you do. At the end of the day, I want to help this team win as many games as we possibly can. Do all the goals that we have as a team. I want to help the team reach those goals. So what I'm looking forward to is really just winning.
They can't go out there and be under 500 again.
No.
Because then we're not seeing the progress that we need to see.
No, because if you go out there and you start going under 500, then all of a sudden it becomes not just a conversation of your quarterback. Now you're questioning your head coach, you're questioning everything else, your coordinators, and to be quite honest, it starts to go up to your front office because this is a team that's been in what I would like to think is a rebuild period. And you're right, this is the spot where, hey, we rebuilt. We got our franchise quarterback, franchise wide receiver. We got a pretty solid front seven, I would say. And whoever comes out of that DB room, I think, should be more than sufficient. I would think you're right. The expectations have to be high for this Cardinals team.
All right, coming up next, there's NFL training camps league-wide. So what's going on with the other 31 teams, and how grateful are we that we don't have to deal with Jerry Jones as the owner, GM, and everything else? That's next here on Arizona Sports at Night.
Cardinals Training Camp 2025, The Red Reckoning. The Red Reckoning. 90 players enter State Farm Stadium at the beginning of camp. Only 53 can earn a spot on the final roster.
Who are the bad men for the Arizona Cardinals, Space Arnians? Who are they going to be?
Training camp coverage presented by Bud Light. The Red Reckoning. On your exclusive home for Arizona Cardinals football. Arizona Sports 98.7. The app. YouTube channel. ArizonaSports.com.
A couple years ago, I was in the bathroom at the airport when I dropped my smartphone in the toilet. Not smart. I was multitasking when I should have been focused on the job at hand. Embarrassing, but I'm not alone. According to Google, 7 million other multitaskers accidentally dropped their phones into the bowl last year. A gentle reminder that right now you can get yourself a brand new Samsung Galaxy A36 absolutely free with a $35 plan from Pure Talk. The A36 comes with scratch-resistant Gorilla Glass and a battery that'll last all day, along with unlimited talk, text, and data on America's most dependable 5G network. In other words, it's tough and smart. Something to think about next time you're multitasking in the necessary. Just dial pound 250, say keyword micro to get your free phone today. You can make the switch in just 10 minutes. That's pound 250. Say micro to switch to a no-nonsense smartphone and a company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Hey, it's Vince Marotta here for Earnhardt Ford in Chandler. My buddy John Nissen, GM at Earnhardt Ford, and his team have just kicked off some amazing deals you've got to hear about. But first, what do you think it'll cost you to roll out in a brand new Ford? How about zero? Yeah, that's right, zero. Not just now, 90 days down the road. That's right, with approved credit, you get 0% APR financing, zero down payment, and zero payments for 90 days. And folks, all this is available on their most popular models, 2024 and 25 Mustangs, Escapes, F-150s, even 2025 Lightning, Expedition, and 2024 Bronco models. The list goes on. Plus, buy now and get a Ford Protect 2-year, 25,000-mile premium maintenance plan at no charge. That's another zero out of pocket. Just stop in and tell them I sent you. They've got no bull deals you've been waiting for, or shop online 24/7 at EarnhardtFord.com.
Most new vehicles include the No Bull Protection Package as an added benefit. $699 for cars and SUVs, $1598 for trucks. After all applicable offers. For well-qualified customers through Ford Credit. Plus tax, title, license, and $599 doc fee. See dealer for details. Offers in 9/30/25.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Hey, Wolf here, and I'm with my personal spine surgeon, Dr. Christopher Young at Desert Institute for Spine Care, otherwise known as DISC. Doc, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Wolf.
People come from all over the world to see you. Why is that?
Well, I think we've built a reputation for cutting-edge surgery, getting people back to life quickly and with less downtime. My father pioneered endoscopic spine surgery, which is an ultra minimally invasive treatment option for treating herniated discs and stenosis. And I guess the word's getting out.
You're being modest, Doc. Athletes from all over the world come here to see you.
It's certainly a privilege to take care of professional athletes, but most of our patients are just everyday people wanting to get back to work and back to enjoying life with their families.
If you want to start enjoying life again, contact the team at Desert Institute for Spine Care. I'm now living pain-free thanks to Dr. Young. For back or neck pain, check out the spine experts at sciatica.com or text SPINE to 620-620.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, it's Vince Marotta. Join us Thursday. We'll get all the storylines from day one of Arizona Cardinals training camp. The fun starts at 6 here on Arizona Sports.
Oh, you hear the music, you know what that means, hopefully.
Oh, it sends shivers down my spine.
Shivers, the NFL primetime music. That means we're talking NFL. We're going rapid fire. We're trying to hit on everything we can before we call it a night on Arizona Sports at Night. But we're going national because a lot of stuff catching headlines. I know Connor's very excited for the start of football season. He's paying attention. We're going to start with your team. The Dallas Jerrys, I believe they're called. The Dallas Jerry Boys. So, why does he do what he does?
Because
is my first question.
It's quite simple. It's because he can. There is no one to tell Jerry to shut up. There is no one to tell Jerry to not do this conference. There is no one to tell Jerry to put the mic down. Jerry gonna do what Jerry gonna do. And then when Jerry's done doing it, his son Steven's gonna take over and do the same thing.
Did you see Kevin Clark, I think, was on one of the ESPN shows earlier in the week, and his joke was, God could come down to Jerry Jones and say, I will give you the next 3 Super Bowls, but you have to promise to never do a press conference again. And Jerry would say no.
Yeah, any press is good press in Jerry world.
So here's what we're referring to. Enough alluding, and let's just get to what he actually said. Jerry Jones, who's also the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys, responsible for putting the roster together. He's got a grumpy edge rusher, maybe one of the better edge rushers in all of football, in Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons seeking a new contract. He's currently playing out the final year of his deal, but it's time to pay the man. And we saw T.J. Watt got a nice little extension. We'll touch on that more in a second, but this was Jerry Jones talking about Micah Parsons, and then in turn, looks like Dak caught a ricochet.
Contracts are 4 or 5 years, okay? There's a lot of water under the bridge if you step out there and do something in the first 2 or 3. You can get hit by a car, seriously. And so there's a lot to look at over a lot of years that could make a big difference. Have you ever heard of any clubs committing to players and then they didn't pan out after they committed to them? We have. Just because we signed him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
Jerry, if you're going to sit there and try to account for injuries, and let's just fact check, right? Let's just do it, Jerry. Michael wasn't gone for 6 games. It was 4 games, okay? And at the end of the day, people get hurt. You're playing a physical game. You can't account for everybody to be healthy all the time. Jerry, stop pissing off your star players.
Well, I will defend Micah Parsons because he doesn't sound pissed off, and I mean sound literally, because he did not hold out from training camp. Here's his explanation as to why.
At the end of the day, like, I'm just staying in the moment. Like, life's so short. Like, I don't want to give up this time, this place off the account of someone else. God blessed me to be here. I love representing the Star. Nothing can hold me back from football. You know what I mean? Like, this is genuinely what I love to do. And if anyone questions that, they probably have never been around me. I take everything I do very seriously. So holding out completely, I don't think so. Like I said, I love this game. There's nothing that's going to keep me away from this game.
I'm going to tell you my take on the matter. He's going to get paid before the start of the season, and this will be nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be the same contract it always is with the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to get cornered into the final week before you go into season. I mean, remember when Dak got extended, it was 2 days before the season started.
Yep. CeeDee Lamb was a similar case where they extended his contract with a week or so.
They just lose negotiations over and over again.
Yeah, typical Cowboys. All right, enough about the team that has the star on their helmet. How about the team that has the stripes on their helmet? Because it sounds like contract issues are not exclusive to the Dallas Cowboys. Cincinnati Bengals principal owner Mike Brown talking about Shamar Stewart, who is still yet to sign his rookie contract.
Well, if we get a player who gets involved in something like that or does something that is just unacceptable, guess what? I don't want to pay him. I really don't. If he's sitting in jail, I don't think I ought to be paying him. And so we say that if he got involved in conduct detrimental, we'd have the right to terminate the guaranteed part for the back years.
So it seems like there's a disagreement on the language in this rookie deal in particular, and that's why Shamar Stewart has been holding out this whole time.
Yeah, so first question mark that comes up for me is, why did the agent even have to put that line in there? What does the agent know about Shamar Stewart doing in his off time that we don't know about? For some reason that the agent said, yeah, maybe just in case if he gets in a little bit of trouble, you still got to pay him. I think that's something to look at. Oh, and then to be fair, the Bengals are just one of the cheapest franchises in all of football. Well, they always have been and they always will be.
This isn't the only malcontent. Trey Hendrickson, not even at Bengals camp. He's in Florida right now.
The issue was he was at Bengals camp.
He was. He was in there. Athens.
He was in the room. He was like, let's sign this deal. Oh, but you want guaranteed? You want a little more guaranteed years? I don't know if we can do that.
I'll tell you what. You know what doesn't help? The fact that T.J. Watt got his big payday extension too. 3 years, I think $123 million extension. Yep. He's making over $40 million a year on average.
Yep.
So, Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, they say, excuse me, may I, please? The difference between Micah Parsons, this would be contract number 2, his first one post-rookie. for Trey Hendrickson, this is already his second team, but he has back-to-back seasons with 17 sacks.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay that guy? Seriously? Like, Bengals, what are you doing? Doesn't make sense.
The only thing I could think is if people just looked at Trey Hendrickson and thought he's your traditional 4-3 defensive end guy, puts his hand in the dirt, whereas like Micah, TJ Watt, Max Crosby, they're kind of playing off. They can drop in the... But at the end of the day, if my defensive end is going to get me 16 to 20 sacks a year, yeah, sign me up, baby. Give me Trey Hendrickson all year.
Wild, wild times. And it's only going to get better because training camp's going to keep going, and I'm sure there's going to be more malcontents and more malfeasance going on league-wide. I mean, you know, it was just a mini-camp thing, but Stephon Diggs, what he was doing, you had already mentioned Trevon Diggs.
Who knows what happens with Miami? Apparently, Tua and Tyreek Hill still haven't figured out their offseason disgruntlement.
It's going to be fun. Hey, Connor, thanks so much for taking the time to fill in. We
appreciate you having
always
me.
appreciate you having you. Thanks to those of you for listening. Thanks again to Tyler Drake and Kevin Zimmerman. We're calling it a night. We'll be back again 7 p.m. tomorrow here on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. Have a great night, everybody.
The Arizona Sports YouTube channel for live shows, podcasts, viral clips, shorts, and more. Just the local sports leader doing what we do on YouTube. Serve yourself some Arizona sports. Subscribe to the Arizona Sports YouTube channel.
Bunker to Bunker, the golf show, invites you to join them on Saturday, August 16th, for their next two-person scramble at Talking Stick Golf Club. Come celebrate the last days of summer with a fantastic day of breakfast, golf, a big raffle, and prizes, all for just $139. There's even a free coupon for a second round of golf, with proceeds benefiting St. Mary's Food Bank. Open to the public and singles are welcome, but space is limited, so register today at bunkergolf.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets